and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be walking you through how to use the pivot table on Excel. The pivot table is a very important tool that every Excel user needs to know. So I'll just be giving you quick short tips on how to use it. I'll try to be as detailed as possible. So the first thing to know before you use an Excel is that you need to have a clean data. What do I mean by clean data? A clean data is one that doesn't have errors. You can see in my data set, there are no errors. I don't have any hash or value hash, all those Excel errors. It's not there. I do not have empty spaces, right? I don't have empty spaces. My date format is fine, right? My figures, the numbers, they're not in text format. Then I have the word part, and then I have a header. The header is very important. So you must ensure that before you use pivot table, you have a clean data. A clean data is very, 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 very important. So here I have that, Kelly. So let me just use the same format for my, so I have fuel, food, okay, because issues like this can cause you problems when you're using your pivot table. So I just try to touch up the data to ensure that it's, clean, because explaining. So how do you find the pivot table on Excel? So to get the pivot table, the first tab on your Excel, which shows you home, insert, page layout. Those are the key drivers in your Excel. So when you come to insert, you see pivot table, recommended pivot table. Now note that the key thing for pivot table is that you are trying to extract a subset data. So I have a full information here and I want to extract a subset data. And I'm saying, how do I, assuming this information here was like 1,000 lines, how do I extract that subset data that I want to from this? That is basically what you're trying to do with Excel. So to do that, you first need to launch your Excel. So you come to insert, right? You see pivot table, click on pivot table. It brings out this small box. Here, you can select the range of table. If you want your table to be, if we had other data outside of this, you can highlight them. Ours has already been highlighted, so the table and range is already here, right? You can choose to use an external data source. So you're working here, but what you want to extract your data source from is somewhere else. You can go there. But for today's class, we'll be using the data that is on the same worksheet. You can create your pivot table on a new worksheet. That means a new worksheet will be created, or you want it to be an existing worksheet. That means when your pivot table creates, it will still show in this page. If you want it to show in a new page, use new worksheet, but I would select new worksheet so that my master data is preserved and I don't mess it up, okay? So that because we are going to be doing a lot of things, I'll be showing you a lot of things as quickly as possible. So I'll use new sheet, okay? Then you click on OK. Here you have your new sheet called sheet 9, and there it is. So if, as you can see, there is no information here because I just went to my data set, to my master data, went to insert, clicked on pivot table, and it brought out the sheet. This sheet is my pivot sheet. This is where I'll do all my pivots and everything. So how do you start? First thing, in the right corner of this Excel, you see this pivot table fields. Is the pivot table fields that you will use to form your pivot table. Now, let's say you are new to Excel and you don't know how to play around. I'll still show you how to use the pivot table because it's very important. But you can also go back to this master data sheet and say, oh, I want Excel to recommend for me a pivot table. You click recommend it will show you the different types. You can click anyone, it will bring out a template data extract from you, and then from there you play with it. But let's not go through this route. I want us to build a pivot table afresh. So remember the step, come here, anywhere on the sheet, as long as it is clean, click on pivot table to bring this out, existing, run that, and then we have the sheet 9, right? So here I have all my columns, data, my columns, dates, buyer, the type, and amount. So this data, you need to always understand your data, because when you understand your data, it will help you know the kind of information you want to extract. So our data here is that of a family that has been spending money on different stuff at different times of the year between January, February. So I want to say, okay, I want to know the total amount my mom has spent between January and February. I want to know how much that I spent. I also want to know how much Kelly has spent. So I'll come here, I'll say, okay, I want to know, since it's the buyers I want to know, I want to see my buyers in the row, in a row. I can also say, I want to see my buyers in a column format. All you need to do, hover it here and drag. Once I untick, it will go off. Once I tick it, it will come. Rows, if I want it to be a column format, you see how it is moving. Then I want to know what each person has been spending money on. I click on type. It brings out all the kind of things that the family has spent money on: books, food, fuel. How much has that spent money on? I'll come and say, I want to know the amount, right? Dad has spent $50 on fuel, $20 on sports. Mom, Kelly has spent 45, 450, 10, 20. Mom has spent this. That's my value feed. Automatically, once you click on amount, leaves an amount field, bring it to values, and to come to values, Excel will automatically sum it for you. So what I'm seeing here, this 450 is the total amount Kelly has spent on books, total amount mom has spent on food, total amount mom has spent on fuel. If I want to know the maximum amount between January and February, let's say, okay, we are saying things have been increasing since January and February. What is the highest amount mom has spent at a particular time on food, or the whole family has spent at a particular time? So I just want to know highest amount we spend on all of these things. So I can come here under amount, click value field settings and say, oh, I don't want sum. I want the maximum amount for each of these items. I click maximum amount and then you can see. So the maximum, let me go back. Let me do minimum. Observe the data. You can see has changed. I can also say I want to count, right? I can also say I want to count. Oh, mom has spent money on food 2 times, money on fuel once, money on music once. Dad has spent money on fuel once. You know, it helps you get data. You can play around your data sets with pivots as much as possible. I can also come and say, oh, I want to know the, let's say, average, for example. Average will give me decimals. Say, because an average, what you spent. Then let's go back to sum, right? So remember, it's this pivot table fields that you use to play around your pivots. Now remember, in my data set, this data is from January to February. I can come and say, okay, but before I go into that, let's assume that on this data set, right, I made a mistake when I was inputting my data. I made an error. And Kelly had not spent 450, it was 405, not 450. So I come here to my master data and I change to 405. It is not automatically going to change to 450. This 450 will not automatically change. So what I would do is I have to refresh my pivots. How do you refresh your pivots? You go to data, right? On this top tab, come to data, you'll see refresh all, or refresh, click on refresh all to update. Now this 450 has turned to 405. Let's say this 405 was not 405 and it was 1,000 naira that he had spent, or $1,000 as the case may be. I changed to 1,000, right? So that you would see it clearly. This amount Kelly has spent on books has not updated. If I refresh, it will update, right? So you can always, in case you make mistake, you can always come update and refresh. Another thing you can do on pivot is to say, I want to be able to say, okay, I have done this, right? But I want to know in January, how much did we spend? In February, how much did I spend without, you just want to be able to navigate January, February. There's a tool called Timeline, right? There's a tool called Timeline for doing that. So you come back to Insert, right? Here you come down here, you have your slicer and your timeline. They are filter tools. Remember, what Pivot does is basically an advanced filter. It helps you filter out data. So you come out, okay, now I have to click on the pivot, right? And timeline, and it will, because remember, I'm able to use timeline because my data has a date somewhere in it. Even though I did not extract the date, I can come and then click on date, and then to bring out this timeline. Then I can say, okay, in January, this is June, so it shows me, so this is January, right? So I can say, okay, in January, we spent a total of $1,194. In February, we spent $420. Do you understand? I can do by quarter, right? I can do by quarter. Yes, Ochua, I'll come back to you. Sorry. Okay, apologies for that. So you can use this to navigate your timelines, right? Navigate through your timelines. Yeah. So, but in my master data, I only have January, February. So if I do my timeline, I can only get, okay, so I can say I want days, right? I want to know how much did I spend on this day. I didn't spend anything on this day, but let's use months, right? Well, how much did I spend in February? In January, how much did I spend in February? So if you have a huge data set, you can actually use timeline to navigate through it. It makes it very easy for you to analyze your data very, very quickly, extract information very quickly. So let me clear this. Remove timeline. So I don't need this anymore, right? I want to remove this timeline. Like right click. Remember, I'm using a mouse. You can also be using the mouse on your symbol. I'm using an external mouse. So right click, see remove timeline, click on remove timeline, and it's gone. So back to navigating our data sets. So let's continue to play with it so that you will understand what we can do with it. So now I don't want, I've gotten this information to do whatever it is I want to do. I can say, okay, I just want to see what each person has spent in this format. I can do it. I can also say, okay, I don't need information on the food. I come, the type, I unclick in my member. This pivot table fields is what you use to always navigate your data. I unclick type. You just say, oh, okay, mom has spent $70 between January and February. Kelly has spent this, mom, dad has spent this. Then get your information. You can play with it as much as you want. You can play with it as much as you want. So it's up to you. Then you can say, okay, from here, another good thing about pivot is when you've filtered out, you can now get your subset information. So okay, Kelly has spent $1,135. What did he spend the money on? All you need to do is come here, double click, and then it brings out all the information. Rather than if you had your master data from here, it would have been difficult for you to extract only what Kelly spent because they are all modeled up. So, and even if you decide to, okay, let me just sort and do it, yeah, you can do that and then copy and paste. But this is really cool. It's very fast, very easy, very efficient. Yeah. You want to know what that has spent, what has it been spending the $70 on? You can see that has been a cool man, only sports and fuel, right? He has to go to work, he has to watch Premier League. Yeah, so this here, mom, that mom is spending on food, obviously taking care of the house, food, getting fuel, must run, and all of that. You get? And that's it. So assuming this was a very big data, a very, very big data, to that it looks, this is a very small subset. So it looks like, oh, something that you could use your eyes to scan, but sometimes you find yourself working with data sets of thousands of lines. I've had to work on a data set with 50,000 lines before, and analyzing it can be tough. But with pivot table, all you need to do is ensure it is clean, no space, no errors in your numbers, and then just use your pivot table and extract what it is you want to do. You filter, you sort, and all of that. Okay. This is not all that you can do on pivot, but these are the basics. And these basics, as basic as it seems, is can go a long way, right? Can go a long way. So I hope I was helpful. I hope I've been helpful in my video. And please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then click on the notification bell. I'll be releasing series of videos on how to use Excel to help people. I also started using Excel about 5-6 years ago. And I remember when I started, it wasn't so easy. It wasn't so easy to find information that will go granular to teach me exactly how to use it. So I decided to do this. Okay. Thank you for watching. Bye.